Human Services are there to help families and individuals meet the needs that we would not normally plan on in our lives.
Ian and Michelle Rooney found they had an unexpected need for human services when their son Max was born developmentally disabled.
Max is now almost 11. He'll be 11 in May. And we don't know the specific diagnosis for what he has. It's an unknown brain disorder, which means that he functions at a level that's severely developmentally delayed. He has a severe seizure disorder and then a bunch of other medical problems. We first realized there was something perhaps wrong with him when he was maybe 6 months old. And we actually took him to Children's Hospital, and they referred us to a place on the east side called Kindering Center. It's the only place on the east side that is a neurodevelopmental center for birth to 3. They did a comprehensive assessment there, and he qualified for services.
Human Services are surprisingly used by a very broad cross-section of the residents of all of King County, not just Bellevue. It ranges from moms with new babies, young adults, young children, adolescents, senior citizens, and everybody in between. And certainly in the last 2 years, we have seen a significant change in the number of people and the variety of people that are coming to us.
I have a good job. We're financially fortunate, but we would have no idea what to do. We would be alone. It's terrifying enough when it comes down to it, raising a kid like Max. Without a center like Kindering Center, we have absolutely no idea what we would have done. He learned rather there how to interact with his peers. He learned how to interact with adults. And they set in motion things that he uses every day and we use with him.
Community stability is one of the things that I think we often overlook when we think about funding human services. If a community has strong youth programs, strong employment, if they have strong educational programs, programs that just generally keep families and individuals functioning in a positive and productive way, then the human service costs are relatively low.
Even though the people voted for school funding, the governor still cut the budget, so now the schools have to make up for that somehow, which they're just having to cut teachers and not hire. So there's 500 people applying for 25 jobs. I went and started seeing Patty Sundberg at WorkSource, individually. I mean, she would only spend maybe, half an hour to an hour with me, but she'd give me some homework to do, and then I'd come back, and then we'd fine-tune it some more. And that was really helpful. And, she just was able to go, oh, I'll take this book off my desk and look it up in here. I don't know how long it would have taken me to find that information. And I feel like because I got help, I was able to find a job that I'm happy with and that I feel proud of, and I'm learning new things, and I'm interested in continuing and advancing in this career.
One of the things that we really need to recognize is the percentage of families in our community who have not necessarily been a focus of human services before. We have seen 30% increase in the number of families, many of them middle class, now showing up at the food banks. People who normally would have been donors at the food banks are now standing in line for services, for food.
Every mother's or parent's biggest fear is, am I going to be able to feed my kids at the end of the day?
All right, and did you want an extra bread today?
I have 3 teenagers at home, plus myself, and with 3 teenagers, they eat a lot, and just on the limited income that we have, we're just not able to get by.
Certainly one of the reasons that all of us should care is that the family in trouble, particularly in these days, may be your neighbor, it could be your own child, it could be yourself. Many of us are just one paycheck or less from crisis.
At first we thought we wouldn't belong there. We never thought anything like this would happen to us. We thought health and human services were for drug addicts and alcoholics and people who never showed up for work. And then suddenly we realized that we needed those services. And we realized it was a safe place. There were other families there just like us that had the same challenges that we were facing. When we first went to Kindering Center, actually, we both remember it when we first showed up there. We were scared, we were nervous. It was probably one of the hardest things we ever did, to stand up and realize there was something wrong with our child.
Going to ask for help, going to sign up for the food bank, going to get help with your rent is by no means any fault of your own, and it's not a sign of weakness at all. In fact, it's probably one of the biggest power moves you can do for yourself and your family, is by reaching out for the help that is there.
I was basically forced to use these side services. I'm thankful for it, but back then I wasn't.
I had this counseling, and first it got me mad because I don't like people telling me like, oh, you're doing this wrong, but then like I just like it, like coming here and talking and just letting out everything I had inside of talking to someone like I know I can trust.
I am currently assigned to the high school as a school resource officer. I've been in this assignment now, this is my 4th year. We usually get involved with students that are in crisis, either because they become to the attention of the school administration, and now I've been brought in, and we use services like the YES, we use the drug and alcohol counselors, we use violent prevention people that also supplied through YES to come and speak to classrooms.
I was about 12 to 13 years old, and the help I was coming here to get was drug and alcohol related, but my problem was gangs.
Those services need to be available daily and not just 2 days a week, because kids don't come into crisis on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They come in crisis 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and that's truly what we need.
The longitudinal studies have shown that children that were given positive role models, strong educational experiences, nurturing for those parents, those are the children that have stayed out of the criminal justice system, and that has to be our goal. We have to have strong mental health programs, of which YES is a great provider.
I know for my future I'm going to be someone like a role model for someone else, like just the lady that I met at YES, that she helped me through so many problems, so many things. She became my role model, and now I'm trying to become like a role model for someone else.
If those services aren't there in times of need, the community has no idea where to turn. Panic can ensue. They have a feeling of hopelessness. It just is not a healthy environment in a community where we have really prided ourselves for being compassionate and a caring people.
I need an army of resources standing behind me, and right now I don't have an army.